Last year, Pixar released Inside Out 2, a film that broke box office records at the time, and it was well beloved by many. Part of that was due to how good the film was, but also due to Disney's relentless marketing of the movie. As a result, Pixar had a very successful year, and it seemed like they were back on top. But then flash forward a year later to now, and Pixar is back in the animation spotlight for the exact opposite reason. Earlier in June, they released Elio, a film about a young boy who is hyperfixated with aliens in space. And he goes on a wild adventure across the universe, looking for something he thought he was missing on Earth, a place where he feels like he belongs there. I was able to watch the movie myself in my local theater, and just to give you my brief review of the movie, but I liked it. I guess this shouldn't be a surprise considering that I am a Pixar fan, and I like what the company has offered so far this decade, but even then, I do think anyone who is a fan of animation, especially those who say they like original movies, would like this film as well. It's got much of what you expect from a great Pixar film. You got great characters with a quirky protagonist, the premise looks interesting, the plot of the movie is very well paced, the animation, backgrounds, and other visuals are vibrant and diverse, the comedy is pretty solid, and most importantly, like other Pixar films, the movie has important morals and themes to share with its audience, and they hammer it home in a way that would make an adult like me shed a tear. It's not perfect, of course. There are some nitpicky things I could point to where the film sort of dropped the ball. I feel like Elio and Gordon met in the film much later than I would expect, and that resulted in their friendship feeling a little bit lacking compared to other iconic Pixar duos. The other aliens we met in the Communiverse didn't leave their mark as much as they should. There's more flaws I could point to regarding this film, but I'll save them and other thoughts on the film in a future video where I give my in-depth review of it. But overall, I think it was a great movie. I wouldn't say it's better than Inside Out 2 or some of the other films Pixar released this decade, but it was still an adorable film that does a job of being family friendly and provides value for anyone who watches it regardless of the demographic. Despite it being a great film though, Disney had treated it like a bastard son that they wanted to hide and forget about. Due to the lack of marketing for this film, Elio underperformed quite badly in the box office, relative to its budget. Now, the film could still save itself to become a sleeper success through releases overseas or in streaming in the long term, but this still doesn't change the fact that Disney has treated the film quite poorly. But why would they do that? Well, some could point out the fact that streaming exists now, and people have grown accustomed to just waiting for movies to drop in streaming within a month or so after premiering in theaters. People especially do this when the film is an original movie that audiences haven't built up the nostalgia for yet. It's likely that Disney just saw Elio as a film that's not worth pushing a big marketing campaign for, and they're probably just banking on it doing well on Disney+. In a way, this does make sense. I mean, many popular original movies come from streaming nowadays. So the idea of a movie needing to be a success in theaters is less of a requirement in recent years. But even with that in mind, it would still be in Disney's best interest for the film to do well in theaters considering that they did release it there. And yet they didn't seem to try. So what else could contribute to their unwillingness to market the film? Simply put, I actually think the mistreatment of Elio is more so to make one of Disney's other films from this summer look much better by comparison. That other movie being the Lilo and Stitch remake. Okay, so hear me out. For those who have watched both films like I did, you would notice there are some similarities between them. Both movies feature a young child character who doesn't fit in, being taken care of by a guardian who had to give up so much of their own dreams to take up the responsibility of taking care of that child because their parents sadly passed. The child protagonists befriend an alien creature, and they come into conflict with some interstellar organization, and the resolution of both films involve both the protagonist and their guardian saving their new alien friend, thus solidifying their relationship as family. In a way, you can probably view Elio as Pixar's equivalent to Lilo and Stitch with a role reversal for the human child protagonist. That's definitely something that Disney may be worried about considering that both films are released less than a month between them. But I don't think the similarities between the films are the reason Disney would want to bury Elio. It's actually the differences from the Lilo and Stitch remake that Disney was afraid of. Okay, so spoiler alert for the ending of Elio and the Lilo and Stitch remake, but towards the end of the film, Elio decides to stay on Earth and give his home planet another chance after realizing that her aunt does love her and will do anything to give him the life he deserves. Elio still maintains a long-distance relationship with Gordon and the rest of the Humaniverse in some form, but he went on to develop a good life on Earth by making amends with his relationship with his aunt and making friends with the people he met at school and camp. The ending of Elio is pretty much the exact opposite of what happened in the Lilo and Stitch remake, where, unlike in the original film, Nani ends up giving up Lilo to the care of the state, while she chooses to go into college and study marine biology in California. Now, I still have some more in-depth thoughts on Lilo and Stitch to share that I'll save for another time, but the main thing you should know is the ending of the remake pretty much goes against the original film's main theme of Ohana, which means family.
Family means nobody gets left behind. Or forgotten.
When you see the Lilo and Stitch remake, and then see Elio, you'd notice that Elio actually sticks to the main theme of Ohana much more than Disney's own live-action remake of the film that popularized that theme to begin with. Through this perspective, it makes sense that Disney would want to hide Elio because the film exposes how bad the Lilo and Stitch remake and other Disney live-action remakes are. It's not just the difference in portraying family and love that makes Elio a much better film. So many other things about Elio, from more likable characters, to the visuals, to the emotional moments, all of that simply provides a much better movie experience than what the live-action Lilo and Stitch film could deliver. The only advantages the latter film has, I guess, are the music and the fact that Stitch is an easier character to make merch for, which is sadly the two advantages that Disney cares about most when it comes to making money. I guess that's also the other reason why Disney chose to market Lilo and Stitch over Elio. The live-action film is just easier to get people to watch. Again, there is nostalgia for this film, and Stitch is such a marketable character. Sure, Pixar did try to use some of the alien characters as marketing material, but let's face it, Gordon is not as adorable as Stitch. Disney's marketing team would rather take up the easier assignment of using nostalgia to market rather than find new material to market the new original film. Aside from that, there's a bit of company politics involved with Disney's decision here as well. Disney probably does not want to divert marketing resources to Elio because the company would rather find success from a live-action remake that they have direct control over compared to an original film made by a subsidiary of theirs that still operates semi-independently. While Pixar did get the green light to have a successful run in theaters last year, Disney only allowed it because Inside Out was such a popular film with so much hype for the sequel that it would be insane for them to not capitalize on it. Sequels and remakes of already popular IPs and/or films that Disney has direct control over get a green light, but Elio fit neither of these criteria, and they got shafted along with other stories that Disney deemed not fitting for their brand. In the end, Disney let Elio flop because they're afraid of taking risks, and they don't want a Pixar film to expose them for not willing to take those risks. But what makes this debacle ironic, and what makes Elio's failure in theaters more tragic, is that Pixar preemptively gave in to Disney's preferences to make the film quote-unquote more safe in an attempt to appeal to more people. The movie and the crew behind it has gone through production hell, with a sudden change in leadership causing the film to be rewritten, reanimated, and delayed for over a year. This resulted in many of the more ambitious ideas for the film to be scrapped. For instance, Elio was initially written to be queer-coded to reflect on Adrian Molina, the film's original director, and his gay background. Along with that, while Elio and his aunt are canonically Latinos given their appearances and surnames, their cultural identity didn't play a role at all with the story, which is ironic because the whole point of the film was to demonstrate how people should be able to get along regardless of their backgrounds. Pixar's executives essentially nerfed the film's more daring themes, and a lot of the crew members thought the film was watered down from the original version under Molina, thus resulting in many of them leaving their roles. Now, ultimately, the film did turn out alright. Like I said, I did enjoy the film quite a lot. The movie is still visually beautiful, the messaging is on point and consistent, which is something that Disney can't do on their own films. Also, most of the characters are still very well written for the most part. Even Elio, despite being nerfed in terms of unique traits, is still quite a relatable character for me. He may not be queer-coded, but he's probably autistic-coded. Although, take that thought from me with a grain of salt because I'm not officially autistic. I'm just someone who has befriended a good amount of people who have that form of neurodivergence and can relate to some of their traits. So even with all of the production troubles, the film still turned out great, and I'll gladly explain even more on why you should watch the movie in a future video. It's just a shame that Disney did not want to give the film a chance to be successful on the big screen, even when Pixar tried to nerf their own vision to appeal to their parent company's inferior standards. But what do I know? I'm just one random guy on the internet with my own thoughts, and you guys may have something else to say about Elio and Disney as a whole. Feel free to write your thoughts on the topic down in the comments below, and please give this video a like, and subscribe for more content like this. With all that said, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one.